You're watching South Asia Newsline, and the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 16th of January. IMF calls India key driver of global growth, signals revision of growth forecast. Top EU leaders to visit India as Republic Day guests, likely to sign trade deal. And Bangladesh prepares for February polls, public hopes for fair elections. And now for all the details. The International Monetary Fund has reaffirmed India's position as a key driver of global economic growth, citing stronger than expected performance in the country's third quarter economic data. The IMF is expected to release revised projections in its upcoming World Economic Outlook update next week. An IMF official confirmed that the January update will include a fresh growth number for India. While highlighting India's broader role, she said the country has consistently supported global growth at a time when many economies are facing issues. According to the IMF, strong domestic consumption continues to be the backbone of India's economic growth, helping the country maintain stability amid uncertain international conditions. This comes as the Indian government will unveil its annual budget in February. Addressing a press conference, IMF Communications Department Director Julie Kozak said that the IMF had earlier projected India's economic growth at 6.6% for the 2025-26 fiscal year, a forecast largely based on strong domestic consumption trends.
What we have seen in India is that India is a key growth engine for the world. India's growth in 2025, when we did our Article 4 staff report, we had estimated growth for fiscal year 25-26 at 6.6%.
And marking a historic first for EU leadership, top EU leaders, European Council President Antonio Costa and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen will serve as chief guests at the India's 77th Republic Day celebrations. The leaders will undertake a 3-day state visit to India from January 25th, India's Foreign Ministry informed. During the visit, the two leaders will co-chair the 16th India-EU Summit on January 27th and hold meetings with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Draupadi Murmu. An India-EU Business Forum is also planned on the sidelines of the summit. The visit comes at a crucial time as India and the EU continue negotiations on a long-pending free trade agreement while the US-India Pact is yet to be finalized. Commerce Secretary Rajesh Agrawal said on Thursday that 20 of the 24 chapters under the ambitious India-EU FTA have been finalized, with negotiations ongoing on the remaining issues. India and the EU have been strategic partners since 2004, and the upcoming summit and the Republic Day participation are expected to further deepen cooperation across trade, security, clean transition, and people-to-people ties.
Visit of the EC and EU leadership to India on occasion of India's Republic Day parade is important not only from the view of a FTA or a bilateral trade agreement between Europe and India. It's happening at a time when Europe finds itself cornered in global geopolitics. Europe is facing diverse pressures and uncertainty from America. Generational shift is happening in relations between the two countries.
Moving on, Baloch activists are raising alarm over what they call a systematic campaign to silence dissent in Pakistan's Balochistan province. The allegations come amid renewed claims of enforced disappearances and an expanding crackdown on both mainstream and social media.
Baloch rights activists have accused Pakistan's state institutions of systematically using the media to suppress dissent and conceal alleged human rights abuses in Balochistan. Nadia Baloch, sister of jailed Baloch Yakjedi Committee leader Marang Baloch, has said that enforced disappearances of Baloch youth and women have intensified, while what she described as fabricated narratives were being promoted in mainstream media to discredit human rights groups and student organizations. In a post on X, Nadia Baloch said media blackouts and censorship in Balochistan were long-standing, but warned that media platforms were now being weaponized to justify what she called escalating state violence. According to Nadia, After tightening control over television and print outlets, authorities have expanded censorship to social media, targeting the accounts of Baloch activists in what she described as a serious escalation. She alleged a coordinated disinformation campaign was concealing enforced disappearances and other abuses, while projecting misleading narratives internationally. Nadia urged activists to counter these efforts by engaging global media and international rights bodies, including the United Nations. Balochistan, Pakistan's largest but poorest province, has faced a low-level insurgency for decades, driven by grievances over political marginalization, resource control, and alleged abuses by security forces. Islamabad denies accusations of enforced disappearances and says security operations are necessary to combat militancy. However, rights groups say many cases remain unresolved, and access for independent media and observers is heavily restricted.
Moving on, Bangladesh is set to enter a crucial democratic phase as election campaigning begins on 22nd of January amid tight security ahead of the general elections scheduled for 12th of February. The final list of candidates, along with the allocation of electoral symbols, will be published on January 21st. The Bangladesh Election Commission has begun extensive preparations, including the training of more than 800,000 presiding and assistant presiding officers. Chief Advisor of the interim government, Muhammad Yunus, has firmly reiterated that the election will be held on February 12th without any delay. Meanwhile, concerns over law and order persist among citizens and election observers. An election expert told ANI that while people are hopeful, they remain anxious about whether the security situation will allow a truly fair election. Munira Khan cautioned that some elements oppose a credible electoral process. The upcoming polls will be the country's first since the violent student-led uprising in August 2024 that ousted the Sheikh Hasina-led Awami League government.
The whole Bangladeshi people are waiting for a very unflawed election, credible election, accepted by everybody. But I think the hazards are many. Challenges are many. Still now, only not even 1 month is away from the election. I think, and all of the Bangladeshi people are thinking that whether the law and order situation will be at that standard that free, fair election will be possible to hold.
The centuries-old bull-taming festival in Nepal's Nuwakot is slowly fading as rising costs and the scarcity of the bulls reduce participation. Despite the decline, villagers continue their efforts to preserve the tradition, which remains a symbol of cultural heritage. Take a look.
The annual Bull Festival in Nepal, which began over 2 centuries ago and once drew hundreds of participants and spectators, is gradually fading in the Himalayan nation as bulls become increasingly rare and expensive, even in villages. Last year, 16 pairs of bulls entered the arena, but this number has dropped to 13 this year as the traditional bullfight begins in mid-January, giving a reflection of the Jallikattu in India and the Spanish bullfight. Bull taming in Nepal's Nuwakot dates back to 1887, when the then Prince of Bajan, Jai Prithvi Bahadur Singh, introduced the sport for entertainment purpose and continues to be a tradition for locals.
लगभग यो गोरु जुदाई बेला चाहिँ अब यो पहिलाको परिपाटीमा किनभने गाउँ घरमा एकदम अब बस्ती नै लगभग अब बस्तीमा मान्छे नै कम छन् हैन यो चाहिँ पहि पनि यसलाई घट्दै गएको भन्नु भने निरन्तर जति पहिला हामी जुदाउँथ्यौं अब अघिल्लो वर्ष चाहिँ 16-17 हल गोरु थियो यसपालि 13 हल छ सन्चै पोलको भन्दा अलिकति घटेको हो तै पनि यसलाई त घटेको त्यस्तो भन्न मिल्दैन जस्तो लाग्छ निरन्तर गोरु पालन रमाइने यहाँ मनोरञ्जन दिनेहरु साथीहरुले कहाँबाट चाहिँ यहाँ गोरु जुदाउनकै लागि भने 2 दिनको लागि भए पनि लाखौं खर्च गरेर गोरु ल्याएर यहाँ मान्छे जनताहरुलाई चाहिँ मनोरञ्जन दिने दर्शकहरुलाई मनोरञ्जन दिने काम चाहिँ गरिरहनु भएको छ.
Bull owners feed their animals a special diet to build stamina and gently tame them for the fight, with preparations beginning during the monsoon around August-September. Training starts in early November and continues at regular intervals. Despite its decline, villagers and bull owners continue efforts to keep the tradition alive.
अहिले पाइँदैन हेर्नुहोस् अहिले त मैले यो कालिरहेको अहिले गोर्ने हरायो लोकल छैन हेर्नुहोस् जर्सी मात्रै फिल्छ उ त्यस्तो टिमर चाहिँ दिन्छ लोकल गाई जम्मै अब पठायो हेर्नुहोस् जर्सी गोरुहरू अब अहिले गोरुलाई अब 70,000 80,000 1 लाखसम्म परेर ल्याउने हेर्नुहोस्.
Continued since ages, this annual event not only has preserved traditional culture in the Himalayan nation with vivid cultural diversities, it also has been contributing for tourism development of the area.
And Japanese logistics major Yamato has strengthened India's supply chain footprint by launching a major logistics hub in Haryana, linking Indian manufacturing to global markets. Take a look.
One of key elements of Indian economy's growth is transportation. Prosperity of city centre is expanding to suburb area. Yamato Logistics India contributes to transportation among city and suburb area. Nearby highway in Haryana State Big Logistics Centre was launched.
当社グループはですね、宅急便を中心に、約法人顧客180万社おりまして、インドだとしても、日本の品質を、維持したままですね、オペレーションを提供させていただいている。海外原稿としてもですね、最大級の、ロジスティックセンターを、ハリヤナ州の、シラワリというところに設置をいたしました。インドはですね、製造業が、成長しておりまして、OEM メーカーさんもそうですし、サプライヤーさんも、生産拠点を、増強されていると。インドというのは、グローバルの中でも成長領域、成長、国という認識をしておりまして、やはりお客様のニーズに対して、積極的に、投資を行って、今回のロジスティックセンターですとか、あるいは、輸送のネットワークですとか、こういったところを拡充していくという戦略を持ってやっております。
Especially designed for temperature controlled equipments, and we can store electronics and pharma equipments. Japanese believe in training, and we at Yamato, any new people joining our team are put on 21 days training, and we impart them safety, 5S, ORENSO training. I feel really excited to work with Yamato Logistics India because in Japanese way of working, we believe in Kaizens, 5S, safety, and teamwork.
インドから中東であったりアフリカであったり、これからの地域ですねへの製品供給拠点としても成長するというふうに思っています。そこに対して我々はインド国内のみならずそういったエリアも含めて拠点を先行して開設をして国際物流あるいはそういった国の中での物流のご支援をさせていただきたいというふうに思っております。
Japanese manufacturing policy is shared with Indian local employee to confirm real Make in India. It is the dawn of international distribution network.
That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.